Morning guys, Nick Swetnam here. That's NICKSWETTENHAM. This is NST Wrestling with a news update for today. Right, get straight into it. Eric Bischoff has been fired by WWE and Vince McMahon after only 1 month in the job. Now, have we even heard anything about Eric Bischoff in this last month? I cannot remember anything I've heard about Eric Bischoff since he started, apart from he was, the last I heard, getting to know the ropes behind the camera and in backstage area and just trying to get to know the wrestlers. Apparently, many wrestlers are upset with him. They apparently don't like working with Eric Bischoff. A lot of the wrestlers, he doesn't even apparently know their names. So this is another thing that is going to get, obviously, the wrestling world talking, because guess who's taken over from Eric Bischoff? None other than Bruce Pritchard. That's right, Brother Love himself is now the creative director of WWE Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. This is going to be interesting because obviously Bruce Pritchard is Vince McMahon's right-hand man anyway, and now that he's in charge of SmackDown, I mean, that's great in lots of ways, but at the same time, a lot more responsibility is going to be going on Bruce Pritchard. So who knows if Bruce Pritchard's going to be next out the door in about a month's time. Now, the main thing, guys, here as well is my point. Does this mean that Bret Hart was always right about Eric Bischoff? We know that Bret Hart has always been critical about Eric Bischoff, and he's always said that Bischoff had no good creative ideas in WCW. He said that he is basically completely stupid when it comes to wrestling and is not Vince McMahon by any stretch of the imagination. We know that Paul Heyman is a creative genius. Well, I know, sir, he is a creative genius. And if you will, I will have this one volley, sir. He is indeed just that. We know there's many people who are Paul Heyman guys. But who are really Eric Bischoff guys, especially nowadays in wrestling? It looks like the Bischoff is basically, this has all been a waste of time for him. Now, I have to say, on a personal level for Eric Bischoff, I actually feel for him here. He's moved all the way up to Stamford, Connecticut when he was living in Wyoming. And, you know, that's a big change for someone. If we sort of dumb it down a sec and just kind of think, you know, if that was you and you moved all the way up there thinking this is going to be a great opportunity for you, it hasn't worked out, and within 1 month been fired, I actually think it's pretty unfair. They've kind of put him as a scapegoat here. Well, Eric Bischoff, I haven't heard really much about Eric Bischoff at all, so I think that this whole Eric Bischoff thing is a bit of a kind of diversion tactic, and people like me, and I'm sure most older WWE fans, will see right through this and see right through the bullshit of this and know that this is really just WWE trying to cover their tracks for Fox. So who knows, guys? We're going to see what happens with Bruce Pritchard. I love Bruce, and I really hope that he does a great job. And I'm looking forward to something to wrestle with, of course, on Friday. Hopefully, we're still going to get those something to wrestle with. But once again, we're going to have to wait and see here, guys. So, in other news, Luke Harper has not been drafted to Raw or SmackDown. It looks like they've broken up the team of Luke Harper and Eric Rowan already, which, you know, I'm not that fussed about, but it seems a bit pointless. And it's just another sign that WWE don't seem to know quite what they're doing at the moment. I was really looking forward to having Daniel Bryan kind of come out all along as the guy who screwed over Roman Reigns. But guess what? I don't think that's going to happen. I think Daniel Bryan is going to stay on SmackDown, as we all know, and just end up being a face again, which could be amazing. I love Daniel Bryan, but I was really hoping this would be a big storyline. We'd go into WrestleMania with him and Roman Reigns. But who knows? Let's hope that Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, has just been the kind of, you know, a small cog in the big wheel of this big Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns plan. But that's us being very optimistic, guys, and putting a lot of faith in WWE, which at the moment, to some degree, I don't have much. I'm glad they brought back the fireworks. I'm glad that they're trying to a certain degree to make the show better. But the WWE draft was, in my opinion, a complete disaster. I don't know what to say. I want to almost crawl into a hole and eat my own head, and then after I've eaten my own head, slowly digest it and then shit it out of my arse. But at the same time, hell, you know, what you going to do, guys? We will see how that goes. I do not want this sports style presentation for WWE personally. I like the warmth of the kind of creative characters. And I love that old feel they used to have back in the day. I'm not going to lie. Whether it was in the 80s, whether in the New Generation, the Attitude Era, and even in the Ruthless Aggression era, they still had that kind of warmth of, it felt like WWE's own little bubble and own little product. Now it's so becoming so sort of statistic based. And yeah, that's great to a certain degree, but we all know it's a work, so why make too much of a big deal? I do, however, want them to start making a bigger deal about wins and losses, because that will actually be good for the product, rather than just this kind of random scattiness of, one day you're fighting a bunch of jobbers, the next day you're fighting for the titles, like they did with the Viking Raiders. And good for them, but I would much rather them climb the ladder a bit more. Guys, also with the Firefly Funhouse stuff, the fans apparently were booing the hell out of Seth Rollins as he was burning down the Firefly Funhouse. I really hope the Firefly Funhouse is not over, and I hope that they're going to bring it back. But this could be the end of it, guys. This could be the end of that run, and it could just be now that Bray Wyatt is now just purely The Fiend, which I think's a mistake, because The Fiend doesn't talk, and he shouldn't talk. Apart from maybe the odd let me in, they need to have Bray Wyatt being the mouthpiece for himself as The Fiend, and having these two characters going forward, these split personalities. The last thing here, guys, as well, is the Kabuki Warriors. What is going on with this thing? That match at the end of Raw, the Kabuki Warriors versus Lacey Evans and Natalya. All of a sudden, the Kabuki Warriors are heels with no explanation at all, and all of a sudden, Lacey Evans and Natalya are now sort of faces, or are they heels? We have no idea. And I think this is just another sign of WWE really not knowing what they're doing at the moment. They need to really up their game, and they really need to actually just start deciding with characters, like, who are you? What's your goal? Why are you doing it? And actually give us explanations to these characters. Right? We know that Chris Jericho's a heel. We know why he's a heel. This is the good thing about sort of AEW. I know it's new, and I know that there are shades of grey there too, and it's not perfect, but they've got nothing to lose. They've got no track record to go on. So I think that WWE really need to start thinking about how they can actually really make a change here, and not just little small changes that are going to kind of band-aid over the real problem, which is the scripted promos, the lack of direction with the characters. And in my opinion, this sort of getting onto this sportsy style, statistic-based stuff, which can work for win-loss records, but in my opinion, win-loss records only. I don't want SmackDown to be presented like it's a sport, because it's not a sport. It's sports entertainment. And we just, we need to have storylines. We need to have good storylines. And we need to have that character development. And it's going to really take these new superstars, get them over with the crowd and make them into the next Legends of Tomorrow, which we've been sorely lacking for the last sort of really, decade really now. Guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching the video. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel. And one thing to say before I go, and that's, unfortunately, Eric Bischoff. Yeah! Fire!